Okay, so we're still continuing with our UVing, and now bottom we've done the body, and all our UVs are looking really nice. Next, now we're going to move on to the arm. So I'm just going to press 1, and as always, UV, delete UVs, camera based, UV, camera based. And now I'm going to set up my seams. You can turn this off if it gets a bit annoying. Cut here. Cut right down the middle as well. So we're in quite a... It's not like a super interesting shape, but it's if we press Control U now, if we look at this, what's going to happen? If we optimize, we can see that it's kind of like, can't really see there, but if we it's actually not that bad. This here is not great. It's not so bad on that side, but on this side it's actually pretty awful. So we do really need to fix that. So we can add, and it's not no problems adding cuts in. Wherever you add a cut, it just means that you have to check for seams. So obviously the least amount of cuts that you do, the less seams you have to sort of check. So that's the only thing you've really got to keep in mind with something like that. The orientation is a little bit actually unknown whether she had this up or down, but like I said, most of our UV seams will be tackled with triplanar. I'm not explaining that. Triplanar projections, which will sort of fix our dodgy seams. Let's see if we can cut this down the middle, maybe, because we don't see it. Let's see what shape that we actually get out afterwards, and it's a bit more of a cutlet shape, I guess. It works out a little bit better. Just so it's unwrapped a little bit nicer, like when you see a map of the Earth. You can hear my little sausage dog making little grumpy groans. Let's just Control U on that. Although we're not going to do that, which is why it's just easier to... Sometimes it's easiest to do that and just pull it out of the way, so it makes a bit more sense on what we want to do. So that's the inside bit, and that's the outside bit. So we'll just go for these edges. Excuse me. Just Control U on that, and you can see now we've got this sort of... it's not straight, but actually we're looking at the wrong side. So when you do select lots and set them, they kind of spread apart, so make sure you don't lose them. So I guess we probably should do this properly. Edit pin. fold and optimize, and you can see how much it stretches up. So if I edit, unpin, scale that up and optimize after that, you can see now it's actually stretched it out. And if we set, it's now nice and straight. Obviously these bits aren't also straight, but it won't make too much of a difference. But it will be nice that we could probably, if we didn't put some sort of like stainless steel metal grain in there, it will be quite easy to do. That's why you want your UVs as straight as you can get for like stuff like that. Optimize, pin, and optimize. So pretty much use this technique all the way through. So if you are just joining us now, I've probably would have said 100 times already that you can skip through this if you know UVing already. I won't make you watch me do it all, but like I say, it's a really good reference of how long things take. This is all this is for. I'm not the fastest either. I'm probably quite slow as well, so the main thing to get out of this is knowing that if you think you're taking a little bit too long to do stuff, when you're learning, it doesn't matter. Obviously, when you're working in production, things kind of need to become a little bit faster, but that comes in time, comes with practice. And yeah, and there's no point practicing to be fast until you can practice to be slow, if you know what I mean. Because if you're doing it too fast, you're probably skipping a lot of stuff. But yeah, if you're watching this, I said it in the last one, probably unlikely that you are watching it, but if you are, write something in the comments around about now, just out of interest, see how many people actually survive through this sort of UV process. You know, it can be quite monotonous, but it's got to be done. And yeah, it'll give you a good idea of how long it takes to do stuff. You can use auto UV, and that's fine if you want to deal with it. If you're giving it to someone else, I would never give anyone else a model that's been auto UV'd, because one, they'll probably really not like you for it, and it just means that you haven't really put time into it either. It's like I could quite easily just press auto UV on this, and it'll probably work completely with triplanar projections and procedural textures. But if anyone needs to do anything else to it, like paint things on manually or fix something in the UVs, you've kind of you can't really do that. You've kind of screwed it, and if you have to redo it, you have to redo it, which is not a place that you want to be in. It's good practice, and not all places require the modeler to do the UVs, because it's quite. There are some places that you get the texture artists to do it. Not all of them, so don't get your hopes up. Because obviously they're texturing and they want it in a very specific way, depending on what they're doing. But VFX is a team game, and if you can sort of get this sort of out the way before texturing, I always find that UVing comes with, you model in UV, or at least you UV to a level that it can be textured roughly, and if so you're not handing it off to a texture artist that's got an absolute mess. Cool. So that's actually taken quite a long time. It's taken 10 minutes just to do this. And you think like, oh, some people have like 10-minute tutorials and they do the whole thing. It's just rubbish. It's just going really fast for it. It's not teaching you anything. Obviously these are probably not the best UVs here, but ooh. Let's make sure we're not overlapping. It's the most important thing, because when we do bake these overlapping UVs will break everything. Ooh, so I'm actually going to put this into the waiting room, then move on to the next one. Hopefully we'll get through this relatively quick. Because we don't have to do this for the other arm, because we'll just duplicate it across. So UV, delete UVs, and you've probably guessed by now what I'm going to do. I'm just going to camera based, and I'm just going to start cutting out my seams. And let's hide that for now. Just remember that I've hidden it, because I'll probably forget. And we'll put a seam under here. Cut. Put a seam around there, but we won't do it across here, so we don't need to. And cut. So I think that should be, I think that'll be okay for what we need. See, we've kind of got this. If we were to do that, we would ideally need to sort of actually cut here as well. Then if we selected our UVs and unfold that, we would then have to straighten this one. Because if there's like an edge going around, sort of a pattern that needs to match it, it needs to be flat, so it goes around, and obviously that's not great. If we edit, unpin all, and optimize. Still not perfect. It probably would actually need to split this down, but let's not worry about that. It's getting a bit let's just move this out the way, then we'll figure that out in a minute, because this bit here is the easy part. So Control U, optimize, set. we might be able to get away with using straighten UVs here and optimize. Let's control U on that. Let's bring that over here. And that's unfolded really nicely. Let's optimize that. And then now this, control U. So this is one of these ones that we probably do want to actually make sure we get flat, just in case we have a sort of, you know, like a you know, like the stainless steel sort of a pattern. So because it's quite C shape now, we need to do it at a bit at a time. So control U, and you see it start growing out. Unpin all. Then we'll just select more edges. Pin. Just keep optimizing that. Unpin all. And we're probably at a point where we can select this whole edge now and scale it flat. Pin selection and control U. Oh, UV shell and control U. Let's optimize that. Edit. Unpin and optimize. So you can see it's sort of following it around fairly alright. It's not perfect, but should do for what we need. You probably want to spend time on your UVs and stuff like that, but I just want to try and get through these pretty quick because they take ages. And let's not worry about that. Let's actually sew those back up. If it does cause a problem, we can just re-UV it. It's not a huge issue because all we do is re-UV it, switch out our model, then update our textures, and yeah, it's not a complex thing to do. Cool, let's just double check all those are set to 50, cool. And we've done that. Oh, now we're on 18 minutes. That took 8 minutes to do roughly. This we can check that nothing's flipped backwards. And yeah, UVing, it gets a bit tiresome, not gonna lie. I was just gonna power through these. I still wish I did, but so I noticed that I probably need to actually add some supporting edges in here. So when it does subdivide, it subdivides nicely. That'll probably mean that I need to do it down here as well. And I'm not worried about that because that's just an end. And I have lost my shelf. So I'm just going to reset the current workspace and save scene as. I might have to reopen it. But that's fine. We can just edit. The only thing I want is to delete by type history. So let's just go around and do what we always do and create our edges. are you doing, Doggo? So we will also probably need a supporting edge in here. Let's put one up here as well. And up here I'm not too bothered because we don't see it. And you'll notice that you need to make sure that you do delete your history. Otherwise you'll get weird things happening with your UVs. Oh, there's more there. It just reduces the amount of stretch in the UVs when it's smooth, so you see how it's not so bad, but it's not something that you actually have to do. It's delete white type history. It's just, I find it, I don't know, it's one of those things, I've just always done it really. So let's select these edges. Oh, nope. And I've moved the UV toolkit off there. Oh. Cut there. Cut there. Cut there as well. Try and make sure that my cuts are going to be in areas where it's kind of going to probably not be noticed as much. Probably places where there's going to be some sort of dirt to cover up any seams. Not saying that I always use dirt to cover up seams, but I probably find most people do. And I'm just going to select these edges around here. And yeah, let me know how you're getting on in the comments. It is nice when you guys sort of update me with your stuff, see how you're getting on. Don't have to, but entirely up to you. So let's control U on that. So you would probably want this to come out round, because when we control U on that, that's now going to come out flat. So if we just set that to 50 there. So you got to think of how the texture will come over. It depends if you want to put circular textures on it. I don't think it'll be too much of a big deal on this because we don't actually have circular textures. We're probably just going to overcomplicate things, but that's one thing to keep an eye out if you are doing that. That you would need to unwrap this so it's flat. But for the sake of this, I'm not. Ooh. Because I just don't want to make this turn into a hugely long thing. I think for what we need it for, it's important to understand that as well. So what we're actually needing it for is this will be probably good enough. And what is that bit there? That's the inside, so we haven't cut that loop in there. But like I said, it's a lot of it can be down to the texture artist's discretion. These are not perfectly straight. Maybe we can optimize it a bit. Obviously, when you use the straighten, it takes a lot. If you notice, when you use straighten UVs, it takes a little bit longer than the other way that I do. When you select an edge and pin it, it's actually a little bit. Well, it doesn't hang. as long, but it depends on what you're going to do. If it's not hanging, that probably means it's not going to crash. So I'm actually just trying to get through this as fast as possible now. I'm not going to lie. It's very unlikely anyone's watching the UVs at this point. They're probably just going through and doing them. But if you are watching them, you should do it. You should comment and let me know, because it's nice to see comments on UV, even though no one likes doing it. And you're probably all actually watching, probably all more interested in Blender tutorials. That's the inside. Oh, 30 minutes. Let's try and get this done before we die of boredom. Don't even know what that bit is. What's that bit? I'm just going to pull these over and hopefully we'll organise it all in a minute. It always goes the way that I don't want it to go. And there is actually, I can't remember which way it is. I think Substance actually does it up to down, maybe, for textures. I can't quite remember. I haven't used Substance in a while. But we will be using it after we've done this. If we ever do it. No, we will. It won't take that much longer. The rest after this is just gonna, once we've done it, we're just gonna duplicate it. I'm more just getting a sore throat on talking. You've probably got me on mute and you're probably listening to music. So it doesn't matter, I guess. I can hope. Yeah. If you are doing this, just UV as you go along. It's just the better way. Trust me. It's the least painful way. So you have to do it all in a big chunk. Oh my god, that was quite actually a complex piece, but we're getting there. 1 minute. So let's assign existing material, check UV. Okay, so let's save this because it seems when things start to get a little bit sticky in Maya, it's a good idea to save. Cool, and we're at 30 minutes now, so we'll do the next bit in the next tutorial just so it's not massively long. So yeah, if you've enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more like this. Hopefully, if I've not bored you to death. And thanks for watching.